from the Mattamy Events Centre in Maple Leaf Gardens. Global Legacy Boxing presents the Canadian Boxing Championship for the Canadian heavyweight title. And some wonderful names there, from Ruddock to Witch, Vallow, Berbick, and of course legendary Tommy Burns. Carman Martel.
I think I'm a good puncher, and with good skills, I can move very well, and I think I can be a great boxer to see. I began at 16 years old. I played hockey, and I was preferred an individual sport, and I began boxing because I like Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson when I was young, and it was an easy choice. My game is I will put pressure and I will work him at the body, at the head, and that's it. I think I will finish him before the 8th round.
And here he is from Quebec City. They call him the Hammer. Eric Martel Bahoeli at 6'3".
And how fitting, Vic, that we're going to have two former hockey players duke it out here at Maple Leaf Gardens for the Canadian heavyweight title. Martel actually played semi-professional hockey in the North American League in Quebec and racked up quite a few penalty minutes while he was there.
That was one of the toughest leagues going. It rivaled some of the things you would have seen in the Slapshot movies.
Martel, of course, coming off that loss to Lucas Brown.
And he'll fight big country Dillon Carman.
Fans fighter. If you love boxing, if you love the sport of boxing, you'll enjoy my fights. I'm not a type of guy to shy away from anything, or worry about a powerful guy. I'm not scared of him if he's a man. So if you like fights, yeah, you'll be on the edge of your seat. You know, I played hockey when I was a kid, and I was a bit of a scrapper out on the ice, and you know, I love the sport. It's a sweet science, right? It's a beautiful, beautiful science of boxing, so it intrigued me. Well, stylistically, I feel like this fight matches up great for me. You know, he's a big, strong, powerful person, but you know, that's not what wins boxing fights. You know, it's technical, smart, crisp boxing, and I think that that's what's going to come out on top. You're going to see a win for big country.
Well, he's Belleville-born, but he makes his home now in Mississauga, and yes, he too did play hockey. He played high school hockey in a scholarship near Fort Lauderdale, and then somebody said, you know what? Ever think about boxing? Ended up going to Texas, where he became a two-time Texas amateur champion as he fought out of Waco, Texas, had more than 100 amateur fights.
And that's the experience that he's going to have to draw on. That's what he's looking to do here tonight. Be the boxer, because Dillon Carman so often gets dragged into brawls, and that might not be the best situation for him here tonight.
And that's the one thing that he said to me. He said, I have to be patient. I cannot fight, really. If Martel comes at him, Dillon Carman has to be patient, try to take him a little bit deeper into the fight.
Dillon Carman has the reach. So he definitely has to go in there, use his reach, use his boxing abilities. He's got the experience, use the ring, and have the ring generalship.
Promotions promoter Les Woods. Here are the judges for this bout: Harry Davis, Kelly Zolnichuk, and Alan Davis. The third man inside the ring in charge of the action, Mr. Mark Simmons. NCC supervisor at ringside from Toronto, Ontario, Mr. Rob Bruno. Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. This is what you have been waiting for. This is the main event of the evening. 10 rounds for the NCC Canadian Heavyweight Championship. Introducing first in the blue corner, wearing black, official weight 250.6 pounds. Professional record 10 wins, 7 coming by way of knockout in 14 outings as a professional. From Quebec City, introducing Eric the Hammer Martel Bahoeli. His opponent in the red corner, he weighed in at 230.4 pounds. His trunks proudly display the Canadian colors. His professional record, an excellent one. 6 wins, 5 coming by way of knockout in 8 outings as a professional. Ladies and gentlemen, from Belleville, Ontario, Dillon Carman. Your referee.
So Dillon Carman with just 8 fights on his record, 14 for Martel. But look at the difference in weight as Martel carries that extra 20 pounds.
Dressing room, I want a good, clean fight. Obey my commands at all times. When I say break, you step back, you stop punching, protect yourself at all times. I'm gonna call anything under here low. The shorts are good here. Good luck to the both of you. Touch gloves.
Not a great stare there from Dillon Carman, who just avoided the eye contact with Eric Martel. Eric Martel Bahoeli against Dillon Carman. Who's going to be the aggressor early, do you think?
I automatically believe that Martel is going to jump in there and try to be the aggressor. Big country has to go out there and just box. Use his reach. He's got that advantage. Use it.
Stay away from him a little bit if you're Dillon Carman.
No question. Be patient here in this opening round. Martel's known about this fight longer. He thought he was fighting Nevin Pikic. So Carman coming in on somewhat late notice to take this fight.
Dillon Carman in the red and white, trunks black for Eric Martel. You mentioned Nevin Pikic. That fight was supposed to take place back on September the 12th. It was canceled with his retirement, and so, you know, Martel has really been, to use the cliche, chomping at the bit. He's been training 13 weeks to get in here, and now he is, and they're fighting for that vacant Canadian heavyweight championship.
Well, and for the last 6 weeks, he's had to train for a fighter who's drastically different stylistically than Nevin Pikic is. Against Pikic, Martel might have been the boxer. Against Carman, he's the one who's going to march forward.
Not much difference in height, 6'4" for Carman to 6'3" for Eric Martel.
So far, it's a good start to the fight. Dillon is using his reach. He's boxing. And Martel is automatically trying to get inside.
Martel coming off that Commonwealth Championship fight loss to Australia's Lucas Brown. First Aussie in more than 100 years to win the Commonwealth title. And coming out of that, Martel's defense was a question, but wow, that right flush to the cheek of Dillon Carman.
Dillon, double your way in, kid, come on!
Martel said that in that Brown fight that he kind of sold out and didn't think about defense enough. And so far, he's been fairly responsible, and he's landed a couple good shots on Carman already. It also helps that Carman hasn't taken too many chances offensively yet.
Carman thinking that, in fact, his strength is that jab, and of course, you often hear it said that the jab will set up everything else. Oh, and that overhand right just misses.
The jab is a weapon that keeps your opponent at bay and puts your punches together where you can hit your opponent right off flushing.
Martel has Carman backing up into the final 30 seconds. Round 1 slated to go 8. Oh, that's wild and misses. And now that right and going by, both missing, and then late, there's the bell to end round 1. A flurry from Dillon Carman, and Eric Martel is going to stand through this. So the aggressor early, Martel.
Martel, big punch, and we would expect Martel to throw big punches. Because he's a smaller fighter, he has to get inside and work the body, come up to the head.
And then this late flurry by Martel as he has, Carman has Martel backing up.
On a big turnaround for Dillon Carman, who was looking a little bit gun-shy early on in that round, and suddenly decided, hey, I don't have to backpedal if I don't want to. I can take some chances, and they paid off at the end of that round.
Well, don't forget, too, for Dillon Carman, it's his first. Oh! And the right sends him down. Carman.
Carman frustrated with that knockdown.
Yes, and definitely a larger fighter, a taller fighter has to always be cautious of the smaller guys because they do come over with those.
Oh, the right and then the left as Martel is sizing him up here early in the second. It is not the game plan that Carman wanted to follow.
Well, even if you thought Carman stole that first round with that late flurry, Martel just got that back with the knockdown.
Oh, he's dancing away now. Wildly throwing punches Carman at a charging Martel.
Carman's getting dragged into the kind of fight he said he didn't want to get involved in.
Carman right now has to keep his hands up, keep moving, keep his eyes peeled like a light bulb so he can see everything that's coming at him from Martel. Try to be aware of the situation. He knows what kind of situation he's in. He just got dropped. Get back to your feet and start boxing.
Oh, he's just back. Hello, that right square finds him. Another one, and this time a little bit of a warning from Mark Simmons. I'm breaking you. Don't throw him when I'm doing the break. And then Carman turns around and say, come on.
Well, Mark is a very experienced fighter. He's boxed on the amateur team, cruiser, heavyweight.
Oh, down goes Martel. It looks more as if he was throwing the punch and then fell over with the follow-through, so they called it a slip.
Yes, it was a slight touch at the end of it. He was throwing a punch, he missed, and Dillon helped him go down.
Boy, both of them are dropping their hands now. Coming over the top, a little left connects. Oh, goodness. Both of them swinging. Both of them.
When the punches are flying like this, somebody's got to keep their hands up because anything can happen. A punch can get through, and because you're not cautious of it.
And both of them are looking for some wind here. Oh, and down in front of us. Carman.
That would be called a slip as well, but it looked like a punch might have clipped Carman.
Backing him up. 10 seconds here in round 2.
Martel is very tired because he unleashed a lot of punches.
Oh, that late right catches him, and there's the bell to end a wild second round. Well, a couple of knockdowns. That one over the top, that glancing right off the top of the head, that was a knockdown as a Willie. And Cartel just keeps coming at Dillon Carman.
And to me, there wasn't a discernible difference between that punch that was called a knockdown and this one right here that was ruled a slip.
Yeah, as he threw that right and just Carman stepped out of the way and he just followed it down.
Well, exactly what I'm saying. For Dillon, he has to be very careful. The smaller guy will definitely try to bring the punches over top of his guards, and that's what happened when he got knocked down.
Round 3 for the Canadian Heavyweight Championship. Left sneaking through from Carman.
Both guys posturing up as if they're going to box a little bit, but I have a feeling this is going to devolve into a brawl again.
Now, we said again, Carman's strategy was to try and take the much bigger man by 20 pounds, Martel, later if he can. That's when you have to rein yourself in, isn't it, Troy? When you have to say, look, I have to maybe just step away. Oh, he staggered him with the right. Martel is woozy back and forth. Another one over the top. Lining him up. Here comes Dillon Carman. Misses. They left. Carman on Martel. Has them on their feet here at the Mattamy. Martel down. Eric Martel.
Martel is getting a little bit frustrated right now. He's just throwing, he's not concentrating, he's out of focus. He's got to get back to the focus and throw his punches. Yes, he's got hurt, but he definitely has to get back to the focus and start to box again. Get back on his feet. Dillon's doing a very good job of using his reach. Now it's time that he's using his reach and he's putting his punches together.
Martel going into a little bit of a defensive mode here.
Well, he needs a breather here.
Whoa! Left himself open, and Martel put the left on the chin of Carman. And now both fighters go to their knees.
It's a lot of frustration right now inside the ring. Both guys are trying to take each other out and not really focusing on the boxing aspect part of it.
And both fighters coming out of that neutral corner. Mark Simmons in the ring, very busy.
Well, if you're looking for a technical boxing display, this isn't where you're going to find it, but you're sure finding a whole lot of excitement.
And both of the guys have exerted a lot of energy with the big punches and also with the misses as well.
Now just trying to get through three would seem. Oh, right, left, and down again goes Martel. Oh boy, just got to his feet in time. Eric Martel
just slightly made the bell. And Mark Simmons, like I said, is a very experienced fighter. He's boxed on the amateur team for years, and he understands boxing.
Oh. That right got through, and then Carman just follows up.
Well, the brawl that Carman said he didn't want to get involved in turned out to be in his best interest because he's getting the better of Eric Martel.
Boy, that was sneaky. It didn't look like it came from very far, but it staggered him.
It staggered him, but when you look at it, Martel's not keeping his hands up. His defense is not there. He's definitely going to get hit with those punches because he's not moving his head. His hands are not up. He's definitely going to get hit.
And Martel backed up with his hands down and basically allowed himself to get hit.
Yes, he backed up and looked like he was fanning the punches than actually defending himself.
Eric Martel just beating the bell after that knockdown late in three as we go to the fourth of this Canadian Heavyweight Championship. That left getting through from Martel. Boy, Martel seems to have gathered himself up in that between rounds.
Yeah, he landed a good left hook there, but Carman shook his head and said, no, that one didn't hurt me.
That one may have. That overhand right.
Well, the one thing about fighting is that the fact is these guys, they might have hit the canvas, but they're in very good shape. That's the reason why they're able to stand and still fight.
The sweat just spraying off on those jabs by Carman.
As long as they continue swinging like this, no one's ever out of this fight as long as they're on their feet, because they keep giving one another chances to end this fight with one shot.
Exactly, exactly. But what I need to see from these guys is a little bit more defense so that the punches do not go through. But it's any man's game right now because each of them are going down.
Oh my, that got through and snapped back the head of Carman. And is there a check mark on the scores card for brawl, or how do you judge something like this?
Well, thankfully the knockdowns have made the round winners fairly clear thus far.
Boy, that again. He wanted to say he was working on his jab. He really thought that was a strength, and then that wild left from Martel misses. Carman taking a look over to his corner. Steve Molitor, former world champion, is working the corner for Dillon Carman, who's driven back. Oh boy, Martel now. Second win by Martel. The whistle, 10 seconds remaining here in round 4. Coming over the top. And that will end it. Dillon Carman, Eric Martel for the Canadian heavyweight champion. We're through 4. Familiar face. Last minute instructions. The man just outside the ropes. Steve Molitor working the corner for Dillon Carman. Bang. And you know, it's there so fast. He doesn't take the big windup. It just pops at you.
And those are the best punches to actually touch the mark. It's not where you're winding up, because you can actually, people can actually see it from the audience, and also the fighter can see it.
All right, Corey, let's go back. We thought in round 1 he got involved in something he didn't want to, Dillon Carman. Now we're into 5. This is where he wanted to be.
It is, and you can see the pace is slowing just a little bit. This has still been a crazy fight. But hey, we had a round that didn't feature a knockdown in the 4th. And as this goes on, Carman, the more conventional boxer, this has to favor him.
The one thing that he wanted to do, Dillon Carman, was, and that overhand right. And it staggers and puts Martel through the ropes. He may not get up from this one. Oh, he did. He fought back again. That's twice. Taking the count from Mark Simmons.
Well, definitely it goes to show that Martel is in good shape. To get up from those punches and continue fighting, he's in good shape.
But it also calls into question his defense. He worried about it after the Commonwealth loss, and now the defense is letting them down again.
Well, for one thing, there's 2 parts of a fighter. Every fighter has their offense, but defense is the thing that will keep you in this sport.
And now Martel trying to find some room, and Carman cutting off the ring.
Carman taking his time a little bit here, not getting wild, not getting into those exchanges right now.
Up and down, and that's a slip.
Well, you can see that Martel is frustrated right now. He's touched the canvas a few times, and the frustration you could see when he goes down, because there was no punches that was actually landed. He just frustrated and he went down. Dillon Carman just let himself relax for 1 second, His hands are down, and he got caught. That's what happened.
Oh, and he comes right back. Oh, goodness. A big right drops Martel. Into the final 10. And there's the bell to end it. What a fight. Dillon Carman, Eric Martel for the Canadian heavyweight title.
From a fight like this is like you might as well be watching the Rocky series. Vic.
Bang. And he dropped him again, and he managed to climb out of the ropes in time. And then this one dropped his hands, as you say, and Martel connected.
Yeah, just when you thought this was a death march for Eric Martel, he gets back into it, but then
dropped him again with a right.
One goes after the other. But right now, in this fight, both fighters have to be aware of their surroundings and be aware of the punches that are being thrown. Because at any time, one of these fighters can get knocked down. They're heavyweights, there's big punches being thrown. And if they connect, any of these fighters can go at any time.
To round 6. Oh boy, there was a punch that Martel thought might end it. Didn't connect with the right.
And by the way, guys, kudos to referee Mark Simmons for letting this one go on this long. There have been points when maybe he could have waved it off, and instead we have an incredible fight that's unfolded because he's given them this leeway.
Yes, like I said, Mark is very experienced. Also, the fighters have been getting up before the count of 10. That is the reason why he's allowed the fight to go. Because they haven't got up all draggily, they have gotten up with steady feet underneath them.
They continue to trade him now here in 6. Measuring, oh, that right comes over the top again, Martel. Comes in and catches a glancing right onto the face of Carman. Oh. Man, you almost sense you get windburn as they go by. Comes lunging forward now and tags Carman with the right.
There are no throwaway punches in this fight. Every punch is a fight ender.
Oh, there's another right that lands on the face of Martel. Nice. Little off balance on some of those.
Little off balance because he's not judging his distance properly, and he's just throwing expecting to land because he's landed before.
Boy, that jab got through, and following up, here comes Martel.
Martel trying to load up that left hook when Carman brings his right hand back.
Again, that left is dropped down from Martel, and both fighters now, the overhand right.
The overhand right has been a factor for Dillon, and the right and the left hook has been a factor for Martel.
Martel pinning Carman on the ropes. And now it comes down to that stamina. Who's got something left as we're nearing the end of 6?
Yes, exactly, Vic. Both fighters, when they started this round, they looked pretty dead, like they were on their second win. They look pretty fresh and ready to go to war, and that's what it has been.
Oh boy! Oh. A left over the top, and that ends 6. Global Legacy Boxing presents the Canadian Boxing Championship, and there's the greatest heavyweight of Canada. Dillon Carman and Eric Martel Bahoeli for the Canadian Heavyweight Championship. It's certainly a crowd pleaser here at the Mattamy Events Centre of Maple Leaf Gardens for the Canadian Heavyweight Championship. As we go to a 7th, both men have been down Troy Ross, Corey Erdman, Candice DeVay with me and enjoying every minute of this.
No matter how this one ends, this is an instant classic that goes into the vault. This will be a closet classic that people are going to try to find for many years to come.
And now what do you do with Troy? Do you still look for that big overhand? You look for that knockout, or you try to maybe be a little more tactical?
No matter what is going to happen in this fight, you will be looking for the big knockout. But it's about relaxing and composing yourself, and it will come faster than you expect.
Well, Carman has the luxury to box if he wants. He is ahead on the scorecards with all those knockdowns. Martel has to sell out and look for a knockout, which is what he's doing anyway.
That's right. I don't think he knows any other way except to try for the big punches and the big and automatically try to land that big knockout punch.
Wright gets through, and here comes a charging Carman. Jab followed up and then wildly thrown by Martel. And Wright got through that time and drives Carman back to the corner. This is where that 20 pounds that Martel had extra, when he leans on you in that corner,
it takes a lot of energy out of any fighter. With all the weight that he has on him, it definitely, and to throw the punches, it takes a lot of it out of him when he misses the punch.
And a little bit more measured now. That wasn't. Oh, he left himself open for that right for Carman coming back. That wild right by Martel missed, and Carman just failed to take advantage. Again over the top. 30 seconds remaining here. Staggered him a little bit, and then that left misses from Carman as Martel dances away. Oh, that rush short right got through. Left and down goes Martel. Dillon Carman is the Canadian heavyweight champion.
An unbelievable fight, an unbelievable knockout. But right now, you have to be concerned about the health of Eric Martel.
That's right. When a fighter goes down like that, you always have to be concerned. Hopefully everything is okay with him, and it's not just the frustration and the uses of all he exerted himself inside of the ring.
Well, we said we were looking for that knockout punch, and Dillon Carman started it off really with a short little left, it looked like, in the middle of the ring, and then just followed it up, followed him around.
Well, it seemed that every time Carman threw straight shots, he would get inside of those big looping haymakers that Martel was throwing, like right there. A short hook, a straight right hand.
A short straight right would always be a looping punch.
And he was saying that he wanted to work on the combinations, and he finished up with a couple of big ones. A left that put him down and the right that finished him off. And he's going over to talk with the training staff of Eric Martel and being told that he is okay as the doctor continues to look at Eric Martel. But Dillon Carman, at the age of 28, is now the Canadian heavyweight champion with a knockout win over Eric Martel. Global Legacy Boxing presents the Canadian Boxing Championship. It was a heavyweight championship filled with knockdowns. Here is Pierre Bernier.
I like big.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes. The official time, 2 minutes, 46 seconds of the 7th round. The winner by knockout and new NCC Heavyweight Champion, Dillon Big Country
Big Country Dillon Carman, in just his 9th fight, picks up the Canadian Heavyweight Championship with a knockout win over Eric Martel.
Good on Dillon Carman. He came in with 17 days notice and took a fight for a Canadian champion.
And there with the greatest heavyweight of all time, George Chuvalo. Well, this one started right away as they came out of the corner. Knockdown, and then more rights and knockdown, and then he got up and beat the count again.
It was
knockdown.
Straight rights and hooks is what led the deal on this fight. Pretty much short straight rights, big hooks is what had the knockdowns in and out.
And then down and able to get up this time, and then in round 7, he wanted to hit the combinations, and that was the one that ended it for Dillon Carman. As Eric Martel Bahoeli unable to get up as Carman wins it by a knockout to win the Canadian Heavyweight Championship.
With Vic, there's one thing that I have to point out on Dillon Carman. When Martel was on the floor, he wanted to go back. He wanted to make sure that he was okay. And that shows a type of athlete that he is.
Well, let's remember, too, now, Silvera Louis, who we saw won the Cruiserweight Championship. Silvera Louis had moved up to the heavyweight division, had beaten him once, but he was able to bounce back, and now, one fight later, finds himself as Canadian champion at the age of 28, Dillon Carman.
Yes.
Corey.
Here with Dillon Carman, obviously a very emotional moment. Dillon, one of the craziest heavyweight championship fights that we've seen, one of the craziest fights of 2014. First of all, thank you for that.
No, thank you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you. Woo!
When you suffered that early knockdown, what was going through your mind at that point?
That's part of boxing, man. The champions get up from those knockdowns and win fights. Champions win fights, no matter what.
You talked before the fight about how your boxing skill was going to be the key, and certainly as the fight went on, when you started throwing those short, straight punches, that's really when you started to get to it.
Man, I really don't know what to say. George Chuvalo's right here. I'm kind of speechless. Thank you, Billy Martin. Thank you, Billy Martin. Thank you, everybody who showed up here tonight. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys.
Thank you, and hey, any chance we can do this again sometime?
Absolutely, baby, anytime. Woo! Hey, I gotta thank Global Legacy, big time Global Legacy, and Les Woods. Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
Congratulations to Dillon Carman. He is the Canadian Heavyweight Champion. Yeah, let's do that again.
Oh, definitely.
The crowd here would love to see it again.
Canadian Heavyweight Championship Boxing is brought to you by Global Legacy Boxing. Visit www.globallegacyboxing.com.